So Los Angeles is working with the drug cartels of Sinaloa and Los Zetas with their sanctuary state policy, and ISIS, right here, ISIS, the leader of ISIS, and Sinaloa and the drug cartels. We've got all kinds of proof, evidence, and facts. We've done videos on it, and the LA mayor, Eric Garcetti, has come out, and he is working with these two guys, with the leader of ISIS and also with the drug cartels, and they're all working together. They're doing drugs, they're doing sex trafficking, they're doing human organ harvesting. They're doing all that stuff. In fact, I talked to, I have to be really careful, one of my relatives, CIA, operating in Afghanistan, and he called me this morning and said, "What do you think about the sex trade?" And I said, "Well, we've been talking about this for years, and you know when you're in Afghanistan, you were breaking up the drugs and the drug cartels being shipped over. The ISIS people working with the Sinaloa and the drug cartels. You got the ISIS guys working with Sinaloa and the drug cartels. You knew about that, so why wouldn't they also be working with murdering Christians after DNA tests?" Mayor Garcetti of Los Angeles, the guy responsible for making LA a haven, a paradise, a sanctuary location for these guys to come in. So we know that Islam and the drug cartels, they don't care who they murder. They don't care who's a sex slave. They don't care who they injure. They just want money, money, money so they can have power, the death knell of every republic. Let's take a look at what's happened in Lebanon. Lebanon, by their constitution, only a Christian can be their president. The president of Lebanon, according to their constitution, can only be a Christian. Years ago, they felt sorry for the Muslims and started allowing them to come into Lebanon, and now they are being dominated by the drug cartels, by the sex traffickers, by the human organ murderers, and selling those organs to other Muslims to make money. All to fund terrorism, from Lebanon to New York to Los Angeles to Seattle, all of the sanctuary cities. Clip number one. Clip number one.
Most people view the rise of the Islamic State as a Syrian and Iraqi phenomenon, but 2014 was also a turbulent year for Lebanon. Islamist militants from Syria captured a border town, beheaded soldiers, and sent teams of suicide bombers to the heart of the capital, Beirut. Vice News headed to Lebanon's capital to take the pulse of a country that finds itself on the front line of the war with the Islamic State.
So we've gone over these words before, al-Wala, wal-Bara. If you're going to understand Islam, if you're going to understand, which a lot of you already do, too few of the people in the West, the United States, Europe, Canada, do understand. Under Islam, there's two main concepts: to love and to hate. To love and to hate. Under Islam, ISIS, they love Muslims, Muslims love ISIS, Taliban, anything that's has to do with Islam, the Ummah, the body of Muslim believers around the world, the Sharia law, the Quran, they all love that. However, they also, wal bara, they hate those who are not Muslims, that don't believe in the Quran, who don't give their allegiance or heart to Allah, who don't like Sharia, who don't like any of the things that Islam always does under their concept of al-Wala. Under the concept of al-Wala, and we've shared this before on other videos, if a Muslim is on a jury and another Muslim is the defendant who murdered a Christian or a Jew or a Buddhist or an infidel, under the concept of al-Wala, all of the Muslim jurors have to vote to excuse and exonerate the Muslim under al-Wala. Also under wal-Bara, because the infidel has not converted to Islam, because the infidel has not bowed down and accepted Allah as God, nor Sharia, doesn't want to become a Muslim, he's the guilty party. Even though the Muslim went out of his way, raped, brutalized, and murdered the infidel, it is the infidel's fault because he didn't convert or she didn't convert to Islam. Clip number 2. Clip number 2.
War with the Islamic State. The band Rahil al-Kabir's sarcastic parody about Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and his claim to power over Lebanon reflects a nervous joke in the minds of many in Beirut. But the joke is quickly losing its humor. 3 years ago, the threat of a Salafi invasion would have seemed ridiculous to most people in Lebanon. But the Syrian civil war changed all that. What started as a peaceful uprising against a brutal dictatorship morphed into a bloody war in which the fundamentalist al-Nusra Front and Islamic State fighters came to dominate and hijack the rebel cause. Their military victories in Iraq were jaw-dropping.
We know for a fact, years ago, I went down to the Mexican border and I did a video and I explained how the drug cartels were working with ISIS and other Muslims. People laughed at it, thought it was funny. Well, lo and behold, a few days later, they caught five, Hamza, Cinco, five. They caught five ISIS coming across the border up by, through Nogales past Fort Huachuca, the army base where we train all the intelligence people in the United States. And they were captured by a little small town, not even a town, Sonoita, Arizona, just a few miles away from where we did the video. But we already know Bangladeshi, the Muslims have been coming across that border. They have been reinforcing the Muslims who are here in the United States. The Muslims who are here in the United States are not after a better way of life. They're not looking to enjoy the American dream of a better house, a better life, of comfort, of peace, order, liberty, and prosperity. No, they're here to take us over for one reason, so that they can take us over. We're no longer an ally of Israel, then they can destroy Israel. That's what it's all about. The show is all about this. Joseph Nasrallah has allowed me to do the show for, I think, over 10 years, maybe even 11 years now, and explaining. And I keep archives of these with hard disks and a description of where I got all of the different articles and stuff for my children and my grandchildren. So then finally, when I die in tomorrow or within 20 or 30 years, whether I die of natural causes or ISIS finally murders me, we'll have a record of it. That's what we're doing. There will be a remnant who survives. I do not believe the United States will be the same as it is today or was 10 years ago or 100 years ago. And I believe between 5 years and 30 years that the United States will erupt into a giant Islamic civil war. They have 2 to 4 million Muslims in the United States right now. Very few, less than 1% really like America. They're here to take us over. And again, under the concept of al-Wala and wal-Bara, to love the Muslim, to hate the infidel, and the 4 different words that mean lying to get in and infiltrate the United States. 1, Taqiya, 2, Kitman, 3, Maruna, and 4, Tawriya. They have been very successful. Tons and tons of money, probably trillions of dollars from the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, all these other guys are all here. They have bought off, just as the drug cartels have bought off so many of our DEA agents, FBI, and other people, the drug cartels working with ISIS. And of course, ISIS is supported by Qatar or Qatar, Saudi Arabia. They say they're not, but they are. They're funding all of these terrorist people. And they're here working for these sanctuary cities, Mira Garcetti and they're just taking advantage, bringing in billions and billions of dollars from America, Europe, Canada, Mexico, and funding terrorism. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. There will be plenty of people left over, 5%. 5% of 300 million is 15 million. In all of World War II, the United States had 16 million men as a part of the military in World War II. If we have 15 million, 5%, we'll be okay. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be ugly. You can laugh at me. You can shake your head. You can say I'm crazy. People have been saying this since I went public on this back in 2001. One of my close friends, retired state diplomat, and also worked with the CIA hand in glove. When he first met me, the word he used for me to his friends was, I was unhinged. Steve Klein was crazy. But over the months, within 6 months, he discovered after he went and he investigated using his CIA skills and whatnot, found out everything I said was true, everything I did was correct, that I had never broken the law. And so it will take time. The magic moment will be when the Muslims en masse, that is the 3 to 5 million or the 5 to 10 million, whenever they do finally launch in the United States, at that moment, there will be enough people, I figure 5%, maybe 7%. I doubt if we get as many as 10%. People don't want to go to war. I'm a former Marine enlisted, Marine officer. I don't mind going to war. I've been to war. My son has been to war. He was suicide bombed and shot up. He survived. And we get along real good, and we talk about this subject all the time. Okay, clip number 3. Clip number 3.
5 miles from the Lebanese border. But it wasn't long before the Islamic State and its allies struck back.
It was rush hour in the Lebanese capital when suicide attackers struck in an area controlled by Shiite Hezbollah.
The past year has seen numerous car bombings explode across Lebanon. In January and February 2014, 7 deadly car bombings occurred across the country, all in Shia areas associated with Hezbollah.
What I'm showing there is what happened to Lebanon. Lebanon was created as a Christian nation. Specifically, the president had to be a Christian. And you can see in their flag is the cedar of Lebanon. They were 100% Christian around 1948 or thereabouts with what happened in Israel. They allowed a lot of the Muslims to flee into Lebanon. As soon as they did that, they started growing. And when they reached 10%, then 100% of the Muslims joined together, whether little children or old people, whether they're men or women, boys or girls. 100% of the Muslims joined together, coordinating and aiding and abetting those who pulled the trigger, those who suicide bombed themselves. They all do that. One of the biggest enemies of our Western military in Iraq and Afghanistan was little children, boys and girls with a cell phone, watching our soldiers and Marines, and as soon as they left the base, they would call up Dad or Big Brother, and then they would set a mine, an IED, and blow them up and kill them, shoot them, do it, or whatever they did. And this 10% factor has been shown a number of times. Most scholars laugh at it, think it's funny, just like the allegory of the cave in the Republic of Plato, where Plato points out that people who are ahead of their time and see the danger coming, like myself, or first were scoffed at, then were laughed at, then were ridiculed, then were assaulted, then were battered, then were beaten, and then we are killed. I know that's going to happen to me. ISIS has already threatened to kill me, my son, my wife. I have 3 FBI agents' phone numbers that I keep, and I've been coordinated and contacted by the detective sheriff of counterterrorism for Riverside sheriffs about this issue. Okay, 10% is a magic number. When MPH, Muslims per host, reach 10%, they go crazy. They work together, and they want to kill everybody. Clip number 15. Clip number 15.
When Muslims approach 10% of the population, they tend to increase lawlessness as a means of complaint about their conditions. In Paris, we are already seeing car burnings. Any non-Muslim action offends Islam and results in uprisings and threats, such as in Amsterdam and in other Western cities, with opposition to Muhammad cartoons and films exposing Islam. Such tensions are seen daily, particularly in Muslim sections in Guyana, India, Israel, Kenya, and Russia.
So 10%, at 10%, so at 1%, they're okay, they're interesting. 2%, they start asking for more. 3%, they ask for more. 4%, then they start getting, individuals start getting ugly and nasty. 4 or 5%, you have individual killings like you have in the United States in San Bernardino, down in Orlando, the different places in Texas where they've killed people. But when they hit 10% of the population, then 100% join together. Now, I'm going to go back and show that clip of the singing group in Lebanon. And when you look at the words and you see that they want to kill people and eat their flesh, ISIS does that. Islam does that. A lot of people don't understand that. Islam is not a peaceful religion. It's never been peaceful. It will never be peaceful. It's going to continue being ugly and demonstrative. Okay, so let's show clip number 2 again.
War with the Islamic State. The band Rahil al-Kabir's sarcastic parody about Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and his claim to power over Lebanon reflects a nervous joke in the minds of many in Beirut. But
they're showing now, they're showing wherever Islam goes, violence is sure to follow, wherever Islam goes. So here you have the ISIS people, the people that went into Lebanon. They're the same identical people working with these guys, the drug cartels, going all over the world. There is no difference. These different groups, the Mexican narcos, South America narcos working with ISIS, they don't care who they kill. They don't care if it's little boys, little girls. Remember, Pablo Escobar blew up an airplane with like 247 people on board, little babies, children, moms, dads. He didn't care, and this fits in perfect with Islam, what they're doing. And notice in that song they're singing, they're talking about butchering and killing and eating the people. And we know that ISIS did that, and we also know that Mayor Garcetti, the mayor of Los Angeles, Jerry Brown, the governor of California, it's in New York City, it's in Seattle, it's in San Francisco. Our leaders, they think, oh boy, the Muslims are coming in and they're giving us cash, cash, cash. Remember, the death knell of every republic is foreign money, foreign cash. Clip number 4. Clip number 4.
it's a stronghold of support for the al-Nusra Front and the Islamic State. Tripoli is often the scene of fierce clashes between the city's armed militias. One of the city's...
Back to this again. I want you to pay attention. They talked about al-Nusra, and they talked about the Islamic State, ISIS. Al-Nusra and ISIS. We have people in Southern California who are members of the Muslim Brotherhood who supported al-Nusra before they became allied, and actually they just are ISIS. There's no difference. We have Hussam Aylush of Corona, California. We have a picture of him like this with his 4 fingers in Facebook, which I captured, and he's taken down, but I captured it, and I got it. I know he wants to sue me in the worst way. I wish he would sue me in the worst way so I could open him up in discovery, because he took his 4 fingers, his picture, showing the 4 fingers. He is Muslim Brotherhood, and then over the top of that, he had a symbol that he supports al-Nusra because the president of Syria was blowing up and killing al-Nusra, which is ISIS. You just heard it. So we're going to go back and we're going to do clip number 4 again. Clip number 4.
It's a stronghold of support for the al-Nusra Front and the Islamic State.
The al-Nusra and Islamic State. That's really important you get that, because they are here operating. They are working under, sadly, the protection of Los Angeles Mayor Garcetti, and we have the ISIS, al-Nusra, Muslim Brotherhood, and they are working with the drug cartels from Mexico, Central America, North America. They're here for one reason: to destroy us all. The drug cartels don't care if they're under the Constitution of Mexico or the United States, because they kill the authorities of Mexico, and they're killing the people in the United States again. So again, one more time, clip number 4. Clip number
It's a stronghold of support for the al-Nusra Front and the Islamic State. Tripoli is often the scene of fierce clashes between the city's armed militias. One of the city's unarmed communities, the Christians, is also under threat. Last August, 7 churches were spray-painted with warnings, including, "We come to slaughter you, worshippers of the cross." Father Ibrahim Serrouge's religious bookstore.
They just said there, they're going to slaughter the worshippers of the cross. Al-Wala, they love ISIS, they love Taliban, they love Al-Qaeda, they love Boko Haram, they love the Abu Sayyaf, the Amirs of the Caucasus. They love anybody who's Muslim. They don't care what they do, because the 6th pillar of Islam is jihad, and we have here under Islam, we have Surah 860, which you can't see too well, Surah 860, which is to wage jihad and terrorize the infidel. Wage jihad and terrorize the infidel. And then we have under Christianity, we have James 1:27, true religion is taking care of widows and orphans. There we go. Surah 860, I had to lift it up a little bit right there, the Surah 860, because the Surah 860 is the central message of Islam, and that all goes back again to that al-Wala and al-Bara, to see if I can make that work. Okay, al-Wala, al-Bara. If you don't understand that, you're going to get killed. The Middle East Christians, they understand al-Wala, al-Bara. I work with them all the time. They understand it. The people of the West can't comprehend that, especially because you have the leaders of the West coming out and saying Islam is a religion of peace and all this other nonsense. By the way, when George W. Bush did that, he was surrounded by Muslim brothers. He was surrounded by the people who believe in Surah 860 to wage jihad or war and terrorize the infidel, whereas under Christianity, true religion, James 1:27, is taking care of widows and orphans. Clip number 5.
باكستان، شيشانيين، هنود، امريكان، عندك اتراك، عندك كذا دولة أجنبية بيعطي شباب، ننزل على القتال، ننزل يعني مش بخوف، أو ما ناخد شيء مثل ما هن عم ياخذوا، يعني هن عم ياخذوا هلا عم يتعاطوا كبتاجون، عم يتعاطوا يعني عم ياخذوا حبوب لحتى ما يحسوا بشيء، لحتى يروح يضل ياخذ هدف. دي نحن الحمد لله يعني فتنا لمجموعة وكمشناها، كانوا شيء 14-15 واحد. معهم حبوب يعني بعدد هائل، مش عدد صغير، يعني شيء 13.
So under Islam, Surah 860, to wage war, jihad, and terrorize the infidels, they've always been involved in drugs, hashish. The word hashish etymologically is the basis for our word of assassin, to kill people. The verb to murder in Spanish, asesinar, to murder, is based on hashish, drugs. They've always had to pump up. The Muslims have always had to pump up under hashish or meth or cocaine, other drugs like that. So it's a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit for the stupidity of Mayor Garcetti making us a sanctuary city so that the drug narcos dealing in drugs can link up with the ISIS, al-Nusra, Muslim Brotherhood, and then attack anybody under al-Wala and wal-Bara, attack anybody, al-Wala, wal-Bara, and kill them. And they do it, and they fund it through drugs, sex trafficking, pedophilia, human organ harvesting. And this is all going to happen. It's already happening in Lebanon, in Kosovo, Albania, Bosnia, in Turkey. It's already there. It's on the way. It's beginning to establish itself in California, New York, all of the 50 states. Clip number 6. Clip number 6.
Its forces in Arsal, but was surprised by the sudden attack of ISIS and al-Nusra on its positions in...
So you saw it right there. That's a retired army general from Lebanon, and he linked ISIS to al-Nusra. There's no difference. They all operate under al-Wala, al-Bara. Clip number 7. Clip number 7.
And within striking distance of the Islamic militants camped in its mountain passes is Ras Baalbek, a predominantly Christian village of 3,000 in Lebanon's northern Bekaa Valley. As fears of an autumn offensive by the al-Nusra Front and Islamic State grow, rumors have begun to circulate that the village, like others in Lebanon, has begun arming itself in response to a weak national army and threats from Islamic militants. We met up with the commander of Ras Baalbek's Village Defense League as night fell.
المشاكل بدأت من وقت اللي صارت في حالة الفوضى الموجودة بجبالنا على السلسلة الشرقية نتيجة سقوط منطقة الألمون بعد سقوط منطقة الألمون ونزوح المقاتلين والمسلحين بعد كيف إلى المنطقة الثانية اللي عندنا إلى منطقتنا فعملت حالة خوف عند كل الناس وحتى بهيدي الضيعة حصل عملية خطف وعملية يعني سلب وعملية تهديد وحتى هيدي الضيعة انقصفت فمن يومتها نحن بهيدي الجهوزية تقريبا عامل مساعد للقوى الأمنية لا إذا شفنا أي تحرك أو أي شيء مش طبيعي نبلغ كل الموجودين هن أولاد هيدي الضيعة تاريخيا نحن كنا عايشين بحالة أمان بكل طوائفهم وبكل انتماءاتهم اليوم نحن مهددين بوجودنا بأملاكنا بحضورنا بهذا الشرق كمسيحيين لأنه هذا الفكر اللي عم نشوفه نحن ما لنا وجود بحساباته بالموصل حصل حدث كل الناس شايفته يعني خلى في حالة الفزع والهلع الموجودين نحن فيها أجراس الكنائس بالموصل إلى 1500 سنة بالدق اليوم ما في ولا فينا نعمل مثل النعيمة نطم راسنا بالرمل نحن حريصين انه نبقى بهيدي البلاد تبقى جراسنا وكنيسنا مثل ما تعودنا عليها بهيدي البلاد بدنا نبقى نحن.
As the Islamic State and its allies continue to wreak havoc across Iraq and Syria, its attacks inside Lebanon and on its borders are taking their toll on this small nation. The Lebanese army is deployed, but seems poorly equipped to defend the country from an Islamist insurgency.
It's already here. We've already been attacked in America. It's already here. And I'm going to end on this. I've been talking about this now for weeks. But this is a basic message of Islam. This is true for 1,400 years, everywhere Islam goes. And if you don't believe it, you're going to get killed. Or you're going to be stupid and turn your daughters and your women over in ISIS, al-Nusra, Muslim Brotherhood, Taliban, all these Muslim groups. They're all going to come in and rape your women and murder them. And you notice the last clip I showed was guess who? The Christians who did not want to fight had no choice but to arm and fight to protect their women and children. And here's the basic message of Islam. If you don't know this now, you will know it in 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. Long after I am dead, somebody's going to see this clip and they're going to say, that old crazy guy was right. Before I was 9, I had learned the basic canon of Islam, Muslim life. It was me against my brother, me and my brother against our father, my family against my cousins, and the clan against the tribe, and the tribe against the world, and all of us against the infidel. Infidels, that's me. Hopefully, you're an infidel too. I'll be back.